Only the unwise say these 6 things. Welcome to Live Stoic, Live Strong. Picture this. You're in a heated conversation, words flying like sparks, and then, oops, you say something you instantly regret. Sound familiar? Now what if every word you spoke could radiate wisdom, confidence, and unshakable calm? Imagine a world where your speech doesn't just communicate, but transforms how others see you. Curious yet? Today, we're unlocking the secret to mastering your words with 6 things an intelligent person never says, all rooted in the timeless philosophy of Stoicism. Have you ever cringed at the memory of a careless phrase that slipped out, like an arrow you couldn't pull back? We've all been there. Those moments when your words betray you, leaving you wishing for a time machine. But here's the thing. Your words aren't just sounds. They're a mirror of your mind, a canvas of your character. Stoicism, the ancient art of living wisely, teaches us that every syllable we utter reflects our intellect, our values, and our inner strength. From sidestepping empty boasts to embracing the magnetic power of silence, these 6 habits don't just polish your communication, they redefine who you are. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with practical, game-changing insights to elevate your speech. Whether you're commanding a boardroom, chatting with friends, or whispering to yourself in quiet moments. This isn't just about what you say, it's about how your words sculpt your legacy. Ready to dive in? Let's embark on a journey to harness the true power of speech. Number 1. Never boast about your knowledge. Asterisk. Asterisk. Have you ever met someone who just had to tell you how much they know? Picture them at a dinner party, rattling off every book they've read, every lesson they've learned, every shiny achievement they've racked up. At first, you might lean in, impressed by their brilliance. But soon, that sparkle fades. Their words, once captivating, start to feel like a spotlight that dims everyone else. Why? Because true wisdom doesn't need a megaphone. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nature does not boast about what it creates, and neither should we." This isn't just advice. It's a blueprint for living with grace. Let me paint you a story. I once knew a guy named John, a tech wizard who could make computers sing. In meetings, John was a one-man show, dazzling everyone with tales of the massive projects he'd spearheaded, the cutting-edge tech he'd mastered, and the awards glittering on his shelf. Colleagues would nod, wide-eyed, caught in his orbit. But over time, something shifted. People started to pull back, their smiles tightening. One day, a coworker pulled John aside and dropped a truth bomb. "Your knowledge is incredible, but the way you share it, it makes us feel small." That hit John like a thunderbolt. He'd been so focused on shining that he didn't see how his words were casting shadows on others. This is a trap we all risk falling into. When you're tempted to flaunt your expertise, pause and ask yourself, am I sharing to uplift or to impress? If your goal is to spark a meaningful conversation or lend a hand, that's golden. But if you're just chasing applause, you're building walls instead of bridges. True intelligence speaks softly, letting its depth shine through actions, not fanfare. So, what's next? We've only scratched the surface of Stoic wisdom. Stick with me as we uncover more secrets to wielding words that don't just speak. They inspire. Let's flip to the next and keep this journey rolling. We just uncovered how true wisdom shines quietly, not through boasts, but through actions that uplift others. Now let's dive deeper into the Stoic art of speech, exploring how humility and listening can transform not just your words, but the connections you build. Imagine you're pouring your heart into a conversation, only to have your words brushed aside like dust. That sting of dismissal? It's universal. When you boast to seek admiration, you don't just cheapen your words, you build an invisible wall between yourself and others. Instead of inspiring, you leave people feeling judged, measured against your intellect. So how do we break this cycle? Stoicism hands us a timeless playbook. First, let your actions do the talking. If you've got knowledge, it'll sparkle through your work, your problem solving, your quiet confidence. No megaphone required. Second, embrace humility. Humility isn't about hiding your brilliance. It's about letting others discover it naturally, like stumbling upon a hidden gem in a forest. Finally, listen. Really listen. When you do, you're not just learning. You're showing respect, forging bonds that run deeper than words. Stoics see silence as a superpower, not a void. It's the kind of silence that screams confidence and understanding. Let's revisit our friend John, the tech wizard from page 1. After his wake-up call, John embarked on a quiet revolution. He stopped hijacking conversations to showcase his smarts and started tuning into others' stories, ideas, and dreams. Instead of aiming to be the loudest voice, he became the most thoughtful one, contributing humbly, asking questions, pausing to let others shine. Over time, something magical happened. Colleagues began seeking him out not just for his brain power, but for his sincerity, his collaborative spirit. John learned that knowledge isn't a trophy to flaunt. It's a gift to share, a way to lift the whole room. By choosing humility over arrogance, he didn't just enrich his own life. He became a tide that raised every boat around him. So ask yourself, what do my words say about me? The answer might just reshape your path. Number 2. Never dismiss others' opinions. Asterisk. Have you ever poured your soul into an idea only to have it swatted away before you could even finish? It's like a punch to the gut, isn't it? That sinking feeling when your thoughts are discarded makes you wonder, is what I'm saying worthless? I'll let you in on a secret. I've been the one causing that pain. Early in my career as a team leader, I prided myself on quick decisions. During one meeting, a colleague pitched a bold idea to streamline our workflow. Without a second thought, I cut them off, labeling it impractical. I thought I was being efficient, saving time. But then came the fallout. An eerie silence blanketed the room, hesitant glances darted between teammates, and the rest of the meeting limped along, drained of energy. Later, a trusted colleague pulled me aside and said, "You should have listened longer. That idea had potential." It was like a bucket of cold water to the face. I hadn't just missed a good idea. I'd silenced my team, creating a culture where no one dared speak up. Stoic wisdom, through the words of Marcus Aurelius, reminds us, you cannot learn what you think you already know. Dismissing someone's opinion without listening isn't just arrogance, it's a roadblock to growth. True intelligence lies in openness, in pausing to hear the spark in someone else's perspective. We're just getting started on this Stoic journey to master our words. What other traps should we avoid to speak with wisdom and impact? Let's turn the page and find out. We just learned how opening our ears to others' opinions doesn't just spark creativity, it builds trust and unlocks wisdom. Now, let's dive deeper into the Stoic art of speech, exploring how humility and purposeful words can reshape our connections and our world. Picture a team meeting, buzzing with ideas, only to have one voice cut through with a dismissive, "That won't work." In that moment, you're not just shutting down a suggestion, you're slamming the door on trust, creativity, and connection. When I dismissed my colleague's idea, I didn't just miss a breakthrough. I dimmed the spark in my team's eyes. That lesson changed me. In later meetings, I made a vow. Listen first, judge later. Instead of thinking, how can I poke holes in this? I asked, what can I learn here? To my surprise, even ideas that seemed shaky at first held glimmers of brilliance. By embracing curiosity, my team started tossing out solutions I'd never have dreamed of. Stoicism teaches us to practice humility, to remember we're not the center of the universe. Dismissing someone's opinion is like declaring your truth reigns supreme. But who has all the answers? No one. True wisdom blooms in collaboration, in the dance of ideas exchanged. After I shifted my approach, our meetings transformed. I leaned in, asked questions, and coaxed even the quietest voices to share. The result? Not only did we unearth better ideas, but the room hummed with respect, connection, and trust. I realized every person, in their own way, carries a lesson, if you're patient enough to listen. Refusing to dismiss others' opinions isn't just kind, it's strategic. It's like opening a treasure chest of insights, opportunities, and innovation. As Marcus Aurelius might say, wisdom isn't about proving you're right. It's about seeing the truth woven through everyone's unique perspective. So what's the cost of closing your mind? More than you might think. Number 3, refrain from complaining without purpose, asterisk. Meet Peter, a seasoned professional juggling deadlines, family chaos, and life's endless curveballs. Sounds relatable, right? But Peter had a habit that weighed him down. He complained. Constantly. From grumbling about his coworkers' inefficiency to ranting about the office coffee machine's eternal breakdowns, Peter's grievances were a storm cloud that followed him everywhere. At first, his colleagues nodded sympathetically, tossing out suggestions. But as weeks bled into months, his negativity became a black hole, draining every conversation. People didn't stop caring. They just stopped engaging, tiptoeing around him to avoid the gloom. One day, over a lunch break, a friend's words hit Peter like a lightning bolt. "I get your frustration, Peter, but what are you doing to fix these problems?" That question was a mirror, reflecting a hard truth. Peter wasn't seeking solutions. He was venting for the sake of venting, trapped in a cycle of purposeless complaints. Stoicism reminds us that words without purpose are like arrows shot into the wind. They hit nothing and waste energy. Complaining without action doesn't just alienate others, it traps you in a mindset of helplessness. Peter's story is a wake-up call. Are your words building bridges or burning them? We're only halfway through our Stoic journey to mastering speech. What other habits can we shed to speak with wisdom and impact? Let's turn the page and uncover the next secret. We just saw how ditching purposeless complaints can free us from negativity and unlock a world of resilience. Now, let's explore another Stoic secret to mastering our words. One that transforms not just how we speak, but how we shape the trust and connections around us. Have you ever caught yourself venting about something? A late bus, a rainy day, a coworker's mistake, only to realize it changed nothing? It's like shouting into a void. Peter's story showed us that constant griping doesn't just push others away, it chains us to helplessness, dimming our own spark. Stoicism, through the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, offers a lifeline. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Complaining about things beyond our control, traffic jams, bad weather, or office mishaps, only fuels powerlessness. trapping us in a cycle of empty noise. But here's the twist. Not all complaints are bad. When they're purposeful, they can spark change. The difference? Intent. Intelligent people know that grumbling about the rain won't dry the streets, but channeling energy into what grilling be controlled, like solving a problem or shifting perspective, lights the way forward. So, how do you break free from pointless complaints? Start with a simple question. What can I do about this? If the answer is nothing, let it go. Venting about the uncontrollable steals your peace and squanders your time. Instead, redirect that energy. Dive into a book, reflect on your goals, or count the blessings that are going right. Another trick? Reframe the problem. Swap type. Why does this always happen to me? Asterisk for asterisk. What can this teach me? Stoicism reminds us that every obstacle hides a lesson, waiting to be uncovered. Peter took this to heart. Instead of whining about his manager, he started crafting solutions to workplace challenges. Instead of cursing his commute, he turned traffic jams into moments of mindfulness or audiobook adventures. Slowly, his words gained weight. His presence grew magnetic. Colleagues stopped avoiding him and started seeking his calm, solution-focused vibe. By focusing on what he could control, Peter didn't just change how others saw him. He transformed his own life. Refraining from purposeless complaints is like reclaiming the reins of your mind. It's about choosing words that build, not break. When you let go of empty gripes and embrace action, you don't just inspire others. You forge a life of purpose and connection. What's holding you back from that kind of power? Number 4. No empty promises, asterisk. Asterisk. Words carry weight, don't they? A promise isn't just a sentence. It's a bond, a spark that lights up expectations and builds trust. But how often do we toss out promises like confetti, without pausing to consider if we can deliver? I'll call you tomorrow, we say, or I'll finish that project by Monday, only to let them slip through the cracks. It's not always intentional, but those unkept words chip away at credibility, leaving cracks in relationships. Stoicism teaches us that our words are tools. Wielded wisely, they create trust. Used carelessly, they unravel it. We're not done yet on this journey to master our speech. What's the next Stoic habit that'll elevate our words and our lives? Let's flip the page and find out. We just explored how empty promises can erode trust, like cracks spreading through a foundation. Now let's dive deeper into the Stoic art of speech, uncovering how aligning our words with actions can build unshakable integrity and transform our relationships. Imagine a promise as a delicate thread, weaving trust between you and those who rely on you. When that thread snaps, it frays more than just the moment. It unravels credibility. Stoicism teaches us that true integrity isn't about grand declarations. It's about ensuring every word we speak is a vow we can keep. Meet Greg, a 50-something professional with a heart full of good intentions, but a schedule stretched thinner than a tightrope. Greg was a master of promises. He'd tell his team, "I'll review those reports by Monday," or assure his family, "I'll be home for dinner tonight." But time after time, deadlines slipped and dinners grew cold. At first, his colleagues and loved ones brushed it off. Asterisk. He's just busy. Asterisk, they thought. But as broken promises piled up like unpaid bills, frustration crept in. His team started doubting his word, rolling their eyes at his commitments. His family, tired of empty assurances, met his apologies with weary sighs. Greg's words, once golden, now rang hollow. One evening, after missing yet another family event, Greg found a note from his teenage daughter on his desk. "We just want you to mean it when you say it." Those simple words hit like a thunderbolt, shaking him awake. He saw the truth. His good intentions were no match for the harm his unkept promises caused, chipping away at the trust he'd worked so hard to build. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Let your words be plain and true." This Stoic wisdom reminds us that a promise isn't just a fleeting comfort. It's a contract binding your words to your character. Breaking one, even by accident, is like writing a check your reputation can't cash. What's the cost of a promise you can't keep? More than you might think. Thank you for staying with Live Stoic, Live Strong. It means you're seeking more than words. We're here for that journey with you. So how do we avoid the trap of empty promises while nurturing trust? First, pause before you commit. Ask yourself, do I have the time, energy, and resources to follow through? If the answer wavers, don't overpromise. Instead of saying, "I'll definitely have this done by tomorrow," try, "I'll aim for tomorrow, but I'll let you know if I need more time." Honesty builds stronger bridges than false certainty. Second, embrace the art of underpromising and over-delivering. Imagine Greg telling his team he'd need 3 days for a report, but delivering it in 2. That surprise? It's a spark of trust, a testament to reliability that speaks louder than words. Finally, own your mistakes. If a promise slips through, don't dodge it. Face it head on. Apologize sincerely, explain briefly, and offer a solution. This doesn't just mend the moment, it shows respect for others' time and faith in you. Greg took these lessons to heart. He grew mindful, saying no when his plate was full, and ensuring his yes was ironclad. Slowly, his team's trust returned, their confidence in him renewed. His family noticed his efforts, their dinners filled with laughter instead of letdowns. Best of all, Greg felt a quiet peace, knowing his words carried weight because his actions backed them up. Avoiding empty promises isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity, about being someone others can count on. We're nearing the end of our Stoic journey to master our speech. What final wisdom will seal this transformation? Let's turn the page and discover the last secret. We just discovered how keeping promises builds trust like a sturdy bridge, binding our words to our integrity. Now let's uncover the final Stoic secret to mastering speech, one that transforms mistakes into stepping stones and strengthens the bonds we cherish. Stoicism teaches us that true strength isn't about flawless perfection. It's about living with integrity, where every word mirrors our actions. When we commit to this, we don't just earn respect, we weave deeper, more meaningful connections. After all, it's not the promises we toss out that define us. It's the ones we hold tight and deliver. Before we dive into our next lesson, if this wisdom is lighting you up, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video. If you're loving this Stoic journey as much as I am, drop a comment saying, "I love this wisdom." Let's keep rolling. Number 5. Don't deny your mistakes. Asterisk. Have you ever felt that admitting a mistake is like stepping into a spotlight, exposing your flaws for all to judge? I used to dread that feeling, convinced owning a slip-up would dim my shine. But one moment flipped my perspective like a switch, and Stoicism lit the way. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change, for it is the truth I seek, and the truth never harmed anyone." Admitting a mistake doesn't shrink you, it lifts you up, painting you as honest, courageous, and unshakably strong. Let me take you back a few years. I was leading a high-stakes project at work, racing against a brutal deadline. In my haste, I glossed over critical details in a report, and those oversights came back to bite us. When upper management called out the inaccuracies, my team took the heat. My gut screamed to deflect, blame the workload, the tight timeline, anything but me. But deep down, I knew dodging the truth would unravel the trust I'd built, so I took a deep breath and faced the music. At our next meeting, I owned my mistake, apologized to my team, and laid out a plan to fix it. The response? Not the judgment I feared, but gratitude. Colleagues thanked me for my honesty. Some even said I'd set a new standard. That day, I learned that admitting a mistake doesn't weaken you. It's like planting a seed of trust that grows stronger with time. Why is owning your mistakes so powerful? Because it tears down walls of defensiveness, replacing them with bridges of trust. When you take responsibility, you're not just saying, "I messed up." You're shouting, "I value truth over ego." You create a space where others feel safe to admit their own missteps, fostering a culture of growth and solutions. But let's be honest, admitting fault isn't easy. We dread the sting of judgment or losing face. Yet, ask yourself, does denying a mistake make you look reliable, or does it scream insecurity? The courage to face your flaws shows confidence, a commitment to truth, and a drive to improve. So how do you embrace this Stoic habit? Start with self-awareness. When something goes wrong, resist the urge to point fingers. Instead, ask, what was my role in this? Even if your share is small, owning it sparks progress. Next, don't just apologize. Act. Show through your efforts that you're fixing the problem, turning words into results. Stoicism reminds us that mistakes aren't failures. They're lessons, guiding us toward wisdom. We've journeyed through 5 Stoic principles to transform our speech, but one final habit awaits. Ready to unlock the last secret to speaking with wisdom and impact? Let's turn the page and bring this home. We just uncovered how owning our mistakes doesn't weaken us. It builds trust, like a cornerstone of respect. Now, let's explore the final Stoic secret to mastering our words, one that guards our credibility and deepens the bonds we hold dear. Mistakes aren't dead ends. They're doorways to growth. Those brave enough to admit their errors don't just sharpen themselves. They light a spark in others, inspiring courage and honesty. When you face a misstep, you're not just fixing a moment. You're laying a foundation of trust that endures. So the next time you stumble, don't dodge or deflect. Pause, own it, and vow to do better. That courage? It's what sets you apart, earning respect that echoes far beyond the moment. Now, let's turn to our final Stoic lesson, guarding our words to protect our integrity. Number 6. Don't overshare future plans. Asterisk. Promises are like threads in a tapestry weaving trust and credibility. But when those threads are woven carelessly, they unravel, leaving your reputation frayed. Stoicism reminds us that keeping promises isn't just about meeting obligations. It's about shielding your character and honoring others. Empty promises, even small ones, chip away at trust like water eroding stone. Let me introduce Jim, a warm-hearted professional with a smile that could light up a room and a habit of saying yes to everything. Need help moving? Sure. Count me in. An extra work project? I'm on it. A community event? I'll be there. Jim's enthusiasm was infectious, but as life's demands piled up, his promises became a house of cards, collapsing under the weight of forgotten commitments. One day, a close friend invited Jim to a family dinner, a big deal for them. Jim, true to form, grinned and said, Absolutely, I'm in. But later, distracted, he scheduled a work meeting at the same time. The day after the dinner, his friend's quiet words cut deep. "We were really disappointed, Jim. We were counting on you." It was a wake-up call, sharp and sobering. Jim saw that his well-meaning words, meant to please in the moment, were hollowing out the relationships he cherished. His promises, though not malicious, had become empty, leaving trust in tatters. What's the cost of a yes you can't deliver? More than you might think. Stoicism, through Marcus Aurelius's wisdom, urges us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Every promise should pulse with intention, aligned with your actions. We often overcommit to dodge awkwardness, or seem agreeable, but a fleeting yes that fizzles out hurts more than a kind no. So how do you avoid this trap? First, pause before you agree. Ask yourself, does this fit my priorities? Can I realistically deliver? If the answer's shaky, a respectful no is gold. It's honest, clear, and respects everyone's time. Second, choose quality over quantity. Commit to fewer things, but do them with excellence. A single promise kept with care shines brighter than a dozen half-hearted ones. Finally, embrace the power of no. It's not selfish, it's self-awareness. Stoics know that spreading yourself thin dulls your ability to honor what truly matters. Jim learned this the hard way. He started pausing, weighing his commitments, and saying no when needed. His promises became deliberate, his actions reliable. Slowly, trust bloomed again. Friends and colleagues saw him as a rock, not a flake. By keeping his word intentional, Jim didn't just protect his integrity, he built a life of trust and respect. We've journeyed through 6 Stoic secrets to transform our speech. But how do we tie it all together? Let's turn the page for a final reflection that'll bring this wisdom full circle. We just saw how Jim's wake-up call taught him to guard his promises, protecting his integrity like a fortress. Now let's bring this Stoic journey full circle, reflecting on how our words shape not just our relationships, but the very essence of who we are. Picture Jim standing at a crossroads after his friend's disappointment shook him awake. He could have shrugged it off, chalked it up to a busy life, but instead, he chose change. Jim started practicing mindfulness, pausing before every yes, to weigh his capacity and priorities. He began saying no to requests he couldn't truly honor, not out of selfishness but out of respect for himself and others. His focus shifted to the commitments that mattered most, and he poured his heart into delivering on them. Slowly, like dawn breaking through a stormy night, his relationships transformed. Friends and colleagues no longer saw him as the guy who promised the world. They respected him as the one who always followed through, his word as solid as stone. What would it feel like to know your words carry that kind of weight? In the end, avoiding empty promises isn't just about keeping your word. It's about aligning your actions with your deepest values. It's about crafting connections that run deep, rooted in trust and authenticity. Stoicism teaches us that every word we speak is a brushstroke on the canvas of how others see us and how we see ourselves. A careless promise is like a smudge on that canvas, but a deliberate one? It's a masterpiece of strength and wisdom. So, the next time someone asks for your commitment, take a breath. Reflect. Ask yourself, can I honor this fully? If you can, let your yes shine with intention. If not, a kind no is a gift of honesty that builds trust far beyond a hollow promise. Thank you for your time. If one idea touched you today, come back next time. It may reach deeper. Share this with someone who needs a quiet moment. See you in the next video.